everyone, and welcome back to another out in the field audio journal format episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about what I'm going to share, except for the fact that I've been nervous about the potential of sharing with you what I'm going to share. And I just realized I forgot to set my watch again for my walk. Actually, I'm not going to worry about that at all. It is way too cold to be dealing with taking my gloves off. It is currently 30 degrees Fahrenheit as I'm walking outside, which is below zero for those of you who are out here outside of the United States. Today, I have on my heart to share with you something that happened, and I'm wondering, should I be out here in this cold weather sharing it with you? This is kind of fun to get out and do these handheld while I'm out walking recordings. But man, I didn't know that it would be this cold. It's been a while since I've recorded a sub-zero temperature talking and walking episode, and I'm kind of rethinking this now. I am wearing a t-shirt. I have a big, huge, long sleeve sweatshirt over top of it. I have a massively thick winter coat from the North Face. I'm wearing a winter hat covering my head and my ears. I do not have a scarf on, and quite frankly, I would benefit if I had a scarf covering my face. I have a very thick pair of isotoner gloves, and even with these very thick isotoner gloves, my fingers are very cold. Very cold. And I have just a pair of jeans on. Legs are okay, though I think I'll probably warm up a bit. And you know, the three things that are cold right now is the fact that, well, my face doesn't have a scarf on it, so that wind up against my face is a little... Okay, it's not just a little cold. It's freezing. My fingers, in spite of the gloves, are freezing. But my shoes, oh my gosh, I have these amazing, sports-related shoes. They're supposedly breathable and all that stuff. Yeah, that's all great that they're breathable. But they're letting all the cold, freezing air in on my toes. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm out here now. I'm going to keep moving forward, and I have something that's on my heart to share with you guys, and I figure let's do this thing. So if you've made it this far, then you are a person within my community that I'm willing to share with you what's been going on in my heart, my mind, and in my business as it relates to yet something else that quite doesn't go according to plan. But I'm using the principles and things that I've learned that have made other people a success, which has brought me amazing amounts of success in the past, and I'm applying all of that to what I'm experiencing today. So first and foremost, I want to start off, I want to continue, but I'm going to start this conversation that I'm about ready to begin with a daily affirmation, or at least an affirmation that's on my affirmation file. And it is one that I picked up from Tony Robbins, and it says this: when things do not go according to my expectation, I will trade my expectation for appreciation. When things do not go according to my expectation, I will trade my expectation for appreciation. So, as you might imagine, what I'm about ready to share with you is that, yet again, I've had something that happened in my business that did not go according to my expectations. So, now, to set this up for you, it has everything to do with the Next Level Mastermind. Now, the Next Level Mastermind is, quite frankly, one of the most successful things I've ever done in my life and in my business. And the only thing that comes as close to the Next Level Mastermind as far as what I feel most called to do in people's lives, as far as radically helping people take their lives to an incredibly different level that they never dreamed possible, was Free the Dream. The very first Free the Dream conference, the Free the Dream 2018. Now, that conference, for the 87 people who came to it, I could give you their contact information for all 87 of those human beings, and they will all tell you that experience changed their life. And it will not shock me if every single one of them come back next year, and most of them have all committed that they're bringing other people with them, their wives, their husbands, their kids, their mastermind groups. I mean, mind-blowing. The feedback and just the experience of Free the Dream. Now the thing is that was not a quote-unquote financially profitable venture, that very first event. When all is said and done, barely break even is pretty much how I would define the financial success. But as far as the picture of the future, I mean, this event is going to grow. It is going to have that impact in more people's lives next year. And I've learned so many valuable things from when it comes to marketing an event like that. Now, quite frankly, I wish I would have already been putting significant effort into the marketing of Free the Dream 2019 based upon everything that I learned. And I should have been doing that, and I should be doing it now, is what I'm telling myself. But here's the scenario, and I've shared this. There's an episode I created several weeks ago, actually several months ago at this point, back in September, I believe. I shared an episode titled Successes and Failures, What I've Learned in my first year since taking the big leap. And in that episode, I talked about the fact that, I expected a significant profit margin on this conference. My goal, my mission, my vision of that event, that there would be at least 300 people there. But as I said, it ended up with 87. So, that did not meet my expectations, but it wasn't hard for me to trade my expectation at that time for appreciation, because I was overwhelmed by appreciation for what took place at Free the Dream. It was beyond what I had even anticipated, and I had big expectations. So, as a result of not having that, just to recap, what I did is I had the Next Level Mastermind. I started in November 1st, 2017. So just over 1 year ago, I started the Next Level Mastermind. And the goal was to get that I had 2 different groups of 12 people each is what I was going for. And my goal was to get to 24 members who are paying $1,000 per month. And I was going to give them, I was going to take 24 people and invest a majority of my time, effort, and energy into mentoring, caring for, and helping these 24 people succeed through my own personal involvement, but also giving them access to the most incredibly valuable tool and resource that I've ever experienced in my professional and personal life, which is the mastermind group. And I was going to facilitate for them, in addition to my personal investment in their lives and their success, I was going to put them in a group, a mastermind group like no other, to help them succeed. And my goal was, I'll talk about my vision and my expectation of what that is. But one of the motivators for that initially was also how do I replace podcasting A to Z income, right? So it's like I want to do this conference, Free the Dream 2018, and I want to have this next level mastermind, and I also had these workshops. And I had 3 different radically awesome streams of income that would have a profound impact in people's lives, proven track record on all of it, except for the next level mastermind and except for Free the Dream. But now there's proven track record. But anyway, going into it, this is like what I'm going to do. Majority of all of my income needs are going to be met just through my facilitation of the next level mastermind. And what happened was I started in November, and I instantly added members to the next level mastermind. I instantly started to see success in people's lives right out of the gate. And in December, I'm like, okay, I still don't have these groups full. I still need to do some marketing of the next level mastermind. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm crossing a major highway here, so bear with me for just a moment. Oh boy, it's so freaking cold out here. I mean, it is cold. Anyway, so I still need to market this next level mastermind, but I probably should start marketing that Free the Dream conference. And I also want to market some more of these next level workshops, these live workshops in my studio. And I started to feel this pressure of needing to sell or create marketing promotional material for 3 different products all at the same time. Let me sell you on why you should come and why your life is going to change positively for the better, and it's going to impact every area of your life if you come to Free the Dream. Let me tell you why you should come to my next level workshop if you want to build a business, and how this is going to radically transform your approach to building your online business. And by the way, let me tell you why, joining me for the next level mastermind, just so much marketing, so much. And in the fact, so far up to this point, I've not had a problem promoting my products and services. But the reality is that, well, quite frankly, I know that I mostly just want to put content out that just adds value to people's lives, not just for the purpose of having a call to action at the end. Not that I'm opposed to that, although there might have been some part of me that, yeah, maybe I am opposed to just putting out content all the time where there's this sales pitch, that, hey, was the whole purpose of this to sell somebody on something? And not even that I believe that that's a bad thing, but I'm not sure if I was, or if I even still am convinced that every single episode, it needs to be leading somebody to the sale. I'm not an ABC person, always be closing. That I don't believe in that. I'm always be growing. I'm an ABG guy, always be growing. I'm an ABS guy, always be sharing. That's who I am. And by the way, I have no problem with closing. I have no problem with selling. I have no problem marketing. I just have, there's something about me that felt like I just don't want to be doing it all the time. I don't want to just completely change my motivation for creating the content that I create. And I felt like with 3 different products in December of 2017, that everything I create, vlog episodes, email newsletters, and podcast episodes, Facebook live streams, Instagram stories, everything had to be promoting every single piece of content. Everything had to be strategic about getting people in the mindset to understand the value of the product or service that I offer, which I do believe in, or I wouldn't be offering them. I couldn't sleep at night if I offered them and didn't give you the return on investment or the transformation that's been promised. So anyway, I went to my mastermind group at the time, and I said, hey guys, I'm struggling with this idea. They said, well, why do you feel like you have to market all 3? And which one's going to give you, to alleviate the financial pressure and give you the freedom to have margin to to focus on the other areas. And I said, the Next Level Mastermind, if I could fill that, gosh, the income from that would give me the margin I need to do all of these other things. And so I made the decision to solely focus on promoting and marketing the Next Level Mastermind. Now, the thing is it took me until about March of 2018 before I got to 18 members in the Next Level Mastermind. Now, the thing is I added more people than 18. There were people that applied, who interviewed, that I accepted, and turned out that, I learned a few things as a result of their engagement. They were not getting the return. It wasn't because the value wasn't there. It's just that I learned that, well, quite frankly, they did not have the resources necessary to leverage the advice, wisdom, and information and insight that they were receiving. And because they had no margin, they weren't able to get a return. And so it's like, well, I learned some new distinctions. And so as of a result of learning those things, I now there are people who I interview, and I ask them more questions than I did previously, different questions as well. And there are more people that, quite frankly, don't get in as a result of them applying. But instead, I say, hey, let's talk about a mentoring package. Let's talk about other options that are available to you to get you to the place where I think you would be a good fit for the Next Level Mastermind. So, but the thing is I successfully got to the place in March of 2018 where I had 18 members paying $1,000 a month. So if you can imagine, that's $18,000 a month worth of income consistently recurring. And it's like, okay, now I'm ready to start focusing on marketing my other products. Now the thing is like, do I market the Next Level Workshop now? Or do I market the Free the Dream conference, or do I market both? And I made the decision at that point. It's like, hey, at this point, everything needs to go into Free the Dream. That I really feel like that's the way things need to go. Now, the reality is today, based upon that decision, I've learned that, well, no, that's not how it works. I have 3 major products. I actually have more than 3. I have one-on-one mentoring as well, but 3 major projects that I have. I have Free the Dream Conference, which, by the way, is not just for people who are on the full-time self-employed business journey. Certainly has a heavy emphasis on reaching those people because that's who I most target and attract to my message these days. But that's not the purpose of talking about this. So that doesn't matter. But it is its unique transformation in people's lives, and it has nothing to do with whether or not you have a business, you're full-time self-employed, any of that. Free the Dream is just amazing. Next Level Mastermind is definitely only for those who are on the full-time self-employed business journey. You either have to be full-time self-employed, or if you have a day job, you have to have a business where you already have a product or service that people are actively buying from you, that they are seeing great results, and they love your product or service. And you want to now take it to the next level so that you can leave the day job. And if that's the case, you must be committed to transitioning to full-time self-employment within 12 to 18 months. That's the requirements for the Next Level Mastermind. And by the way, Next Level Mastermind has many people, several people, that have 30 plus years of full-time self-employment experience. So it is definitely those who are on the journey of full-time self-employment. And then this building an online business, the Next Level Workshop that I've been doing, is for people who are just at the earliest stages of building their business. They're still trying to figure out, what is my niche? How do I determine a target audience? How do I determine pricing from my coaching and consulting or my online course? How do I go about deciding what to create for an online course? It is for people who haven't yet successfully maintained an ongoing steady stream of business in their side hustle, if you will. So they're not eligible for the Next Level Mastermind, but man, I know so much that I could help them, walking them through step by step through that process. That's the Next Level Workshop. So it's definitely different. And if I had a different marketing campaign for each of these 3 products, I know today that I could effectively, creatively market all 3 products and services. And I know this because, well, you know what? Apple effectively sells iPads, desktop computers, iPhones, iCloud services. I mean, they market all kinds of different things. Oh man, those fingers are, whew. Okay. When I say it's cold out here, I mean it's cold out here. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can hold this in my other hand over here. And I'm going to put the other hand in my jacket pocket because those fingertips are getting a little numb. Don't worry, I don't think they're going to fall off or be frostbite. But wow, it's cold out here. Anyway, so I've learned so much as a result of that. But here's what happened. In March of last year, or April of last year, I decided, okay, I'm not going to market the Next Level workshops, which, by the way, if I would have marketed that financially, dude, things would have just been so out of the park awesome. And if I would have continued to market the Next Level Mastermind, things would be so, I mean, financially, it's like, whoa. Now, the thing is financially, I got to tell you, what I'm doing today is more financially successful than in the past if I continue to market them the way that I marketed them in the beginning. But here's what happened. I chose not to do any more of the Next Level workshops in 2018. I think I marketed one in January, and yes, that made a significant amount of income. And by the way, a single Next Level workshop, a weekend workshop, generates for me $28,000, and it's about $2,000 worth of cost if you consider all the meals that we buy folks and all the other supplies that we hand out, all of that stuff. It's quite literally $24,000 in pure profit, and not to mention the fact it's 14 people's lives that are radically changed. I could share with you testimonial after testimonial just go to nextlevelworkshop.info, nextlevelworkshop.info, and you can read the testimonials there. That's just a few of them. There are so many that have come in since that I haven't added to the sales page because I haven't chosen to market it anymore. So I haven't taken any time to update and add additional testimonials to it. But with all of that being said, I chose not to market something that would radically, and has been proven to generate significant amount of income. Because why? Well, I had $18,000 a month of steady recurring revenue coming in from the Next Level Mastermind. I'm seeing significant results in the lives of those who are in the Next Level Mastermind. And, well, I need to market Free the Dream, and I've never done this before. A conference is not a validated product for me. And, I kind of approached it as, I'm expecting a financial return on this investment. Quite frankly, I was thinking, it would not be out of the realm of possibility to come away with $100,000 profit as a result of Free the Dream. I was actually projecting the possibility of even more than that, but the idea that I would just break even did not occur to me. So what happened was, there's always things that can happen in people's lives, events and circumstances. And what happened was I did transition in April of 2018 of this year over to just full on, just only marketing Free the Dream, at the exclusion of continuing to market those remaining final spots in the Next Level Mastermind, and I certainly in exclusion of marketing something that could have generated me $24,000 in profit, just by offering a couple more of these live workshops that are radically transforming people's lives and have a proven track record. But no, I marketed only Free the Dream in exclusion of those other things. Again, learned so much as a result of that. So, with that being said, what happened was from March through September, I had several people drop from the Next Level Mastermind. I would say from April through September. I'm not looking at details. I'm out here walking. But from April through the end of September, I went from 18 members down to 14 members. So that brings us, of course, I was used to generating significant amounts of income, like $20K per month or more. And now all of a sudden, And not to mention the fact that I did have some other streams of income. But the reality is that all of a sudden my recurring revenue that I depended on, that I was looking to depend on, went all the way down to $14K. And this started to create a little bit of a deficit in what we usually have as an operating budget for all of the things that we do in our business and also in our personal finances. And I'm thinking, that's okay. What I'm missing here, I will more than make up with the profit from Free the Dream. And so that was my mindset, that was my belief, and that's what I was pursuing. And well, when it all was said and done, Free the Dream had 87 people. And quite frankly, once I got to the place where I sold enough tickets just 4 days before the event, where I knew I was going to break even, I even stopped marketing. And not to mention the fact that I had all this margin in my life over the summer where, quite frankly, I learned that, wow, I kind of had several days and several weeks where I may have had more recreation and embraced my margin a little bit on the extreme end. And looking back, I'm like, you know what? I probably could have worked a little harder this past year. And, anyways, I learned a lot. And as a result of those learning experiences, I'm like, okay, I know some things now that I won't do moving forward. And it's all valuable because as a business mentor and a life coach, these decisions that I've made in the past, man, can I help people in the future when they're struggling with some of these thoughts and ideas and some of the decisions that they're thinking about making. So I'm glad that I've learned from these, but quite frankly, it put us in a financial situation that I was not anticipating. And so it's like, okay, since Free the Dream, I'm like, what am I going to do now? So in October 1st came around and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to go into full-on heavy-duty marketing mode for the Next Level Mastermind. And I'm going to get the Next Level Mastermind filled up where both groups have 12 members and there's a waiting list by the end of October. And that was my plan, that was my goal. And I started working in that direction, and guess what? I immediately added 4 new members within 7 days. Just as a result of, there are people who are waiting to hear about this Next Level Mastermind. I guess in their mind, they might have even thought that, well, Cliff doesn't mention that there's any spots available, so he must be full. And so all I did was mention it in a vlog episode, and I mentioned it in 2 podcast episodes, and now all of a sudden I have 4 new members. I'm back up to 18 members, right? Within a very short period of time. Now the thing is, there were more people who applied who did not get in. 2 of them discovered that through the questions they asked that it wasn't a good fit for them, and 4 of them I discovered that, well, they weren't quite yet ready for the Next Level Mastermind. So my marketing efforts were going well, except for that right around mid-October, I'm like, man, I know what I need to do to market this thing, and I just hate the idea of writing these emails. I know I want to create, and I still have to get over this term, the sales funnel, because I don't like the language or even the metaphor of throwing people into a funnel, and I kind of think of them as going into a meat grinder and grinding them all the way down to where they get into a shopping cart and buy. I don't like that language. I don't like that idea. I don't like that metaphor, and need to work on my belief system. But anyway, I know that I need to create an effective marketing campaign that does, offer value all the way through, even for those who never would decide to actually buy anything related to what's being marketed, but to actually give them value just in return for the attention of the content that I'm creating that is effectively and unapologetically meant to market and sell you on the idea, the value that the Next Level Mastermind can bring into your life, in return for your investment of time to consume this content, where I'm trying to sell you on this concept and this participation of this product or service. Even if you never, I want to make sure that they benefit from the content itself. Maybe sometimes to the detriment of some of those who are on the fence who get enough value just from the free content. But that's a whole nother story for another time. And quite frankly, I'm of the opinion of giving more away and attracting those who absolutely, hands down, understand the value of what I'm offering. And quite frankly, I way under communicate the value of what I'm offering. Because I'm a guy who believes in, and I don't know if I need to change this, and I don't want, at this point, I don't think that I need to change this, and I don't know that I even want to change this, but one thing that I use to operate my business is I always under-promise and over-deliver. It's 31 minutes into this recording. As I'm out here, I'm going to turn around now because I am heading back. It's Wednesday morning, and I have a next level mastermind call that starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. And so I started this call just a little bit after 8 a.m. or started this recording a little after 8 a.m. And it's the timer on the display here that tells me, yeah, you should probably turn around. That way you'll have time to take a shower and get dressed for your mastermind call. So I just turned around, heading back to the house. And quite frankly, I'm a little warmer now. The sun is shining. I'm glad I didn't turn around, go back in the house and pack my tail on my pants and say, well, maybe another day I'll record that episode. Now that I'm halfway through it, I'm glad I'm here and I'm glad I'm sharing this with you. So the reality is that, where was I? I was talking about the fact that, so I know that I hate coming up with this email communication stuff. I know that I hate this writing sales copy, writing these emails that would go into an automated sequence that would, just sitting down and thinking about strategically, how do you deliver what content when and at what schedule, and more importantly, what words to use to motivate and inspire people to take action, to click a button, to click a link, to watch a video. And by the way, I consider myself to be an incredible salesperson, and I can communicate and inspire and motivate you in incredible ways through using my voice. For example, in this podcast episode, I have no doubt that for those of you who are still listening right now, sure, there have been people who heard 90 seconds of me walking out the door talking about how cold it is and they left, right? But if you're still hearing my voice right now, I mean, seriously, aren't you resonating? Aren't you deeply involved and connected with everything I'm sharing with you? Of course you are. And that, my friends, is sales. I'm selling you on keep listening. This is valuable information I'm sharing with you. And by the way, this is not created, I'll just give you a little heads up, this is not created as a marketing piece of content for the Next Level Mastermind. This is not a part of the strategic sales funnel for the marketing campaign of the Next Level Mastermind. In fact, my little bit of anxiety about creating this is, well, would this cause question in people's mind about the value of the Next Level Mastermind when I get to sharing with you how things did not go according to my expectation? So, with that being said, let me continue on. I got to the end of October. I'm back up to 18 members in the Next Level Mastermind. Great. Wonderful. That's awesome. But do I have 24? No. I still have 6 more spots to fill. And I'm like, okay, do I do what I did before? Do I start marketing Free the Dream at the exclusion of the Next Level Mastermind? Well, no. I want to get the Next Level Mastermind filled to capacity. And I want to create an automated sequence. And by the way, in October, what I did was not an automated sequence and not an automated marketing campaign. It was one that, quite frankly, is just like anything else I've ever marketed in my business. I relied on my direct sales abilities, my direct sales experience. Basically getting people onto a call with me and saying, hey, let's talk about this. Let me create a piece of content that resonates with people that say, yeah, I want that. And then they make a decision on the spot. But none of my marketing in the past has ever been ongoing evergreen. That means that what happens when I decide that I want to start marketing, when I decide to start selling, what happens is, well, I get sales, I get income, I profit, my customers profit, they get their transformation, they're extremely happy, I have amazing testimonials, and when I decide to market again in the future, I have stories, case studies to share, and as soon as I decide to start marketing again, I get more sales. It is always awesome. I still have 100% satisfaction rating in so many things that I've done. And I'm like, okay, this is incredible, except for the fact that when I decide to shift my focus from selling or marketing actively, personally doing and creating that content on the fly, when I am not marketing, when I'm not selling, but focusing all of my time servicing and serving the people who have purchased, there's nobody else who are actually listening to anything that's being compelling them to join. They don't even know that my products exist. For example, there's not even been a single sale of the Free the Dream conference since October because, well, I haven't mentioned it. I haven't mentioned it, and that is a problem. And I haven't, anyway. So, with that being said, I'm like, okay, I know I need to do something. So I decided to finally do something. And I'm going to hire somebody to help. By the way, one of the things I learned about from Free the Dream is this idea of hiring somebody who is an expert at doing what they're doing, paying them well to do exactly what they do best, and reaping the benefits of what they do best, that's not just who you are. So for Free the Dream, I hired Matt and Lauren Brady from Brady Made Productions to manage every aspect of our Free the Dream conference, except for the marketing aspect. That was on me. Lesson learned. Anyway, the thing is that they handled they handled everything except for marketing and also speaker arrangements. So I handled all the relationships with my speakers and all the communication with them. But when it came to anything related to the venue, negotiating the contract, following up with them, making sure everything was available, making sure things were set up in time, hiring a road crew to set up the stage, hiring or renting all the tables, and coming up with a creative idea for how the table placements should look and how they fit in with our brand. Matt and Lauren handled all of that, everything. I mean, every single visual detail was handled by Matt and Lauren. They would present it to me in weekly meetings, and I would approve things or suggest changes. It was incredible. And basically, I rolled into town the day before the conference, and they were already 6 hours into getting things set up. I showed up with my speakers, we did a tech run through, and then I went out to dinner with my speakers. And while they were continuing to put last minute touches on the setup of everything, I lifted 0 fingers to make anything in the setup of that event at the venue happen. Lifted it, not a single finger. And that was by their request. They're like, Cliff, please let us do everything. We want to show you that this is what we're here for. And it was so awesome. And I show up the next morning. I get up the next morning and I go to the gym and I work out, right? And then I show up and they have already trained my volunteers how to do the registration table. People are already checking in when I walk in the door. I'm connecting with people. Some guy comes up and says, hey, Cliff, I'd like to put a mic on you. Is that cool? And I'm like, yeah. And I literally am just connecting with people all morning long. I don't worry about lighting or sound or anything. It's just all happening. All of my speakers are getting their directions about when they're on stage and getting the mic. All that's handled by their team that they put together. The catering, the coffee, everything, all of them. It's all done by them. And I just get up on stage and I do my opening keynote, and I do what I do best, what I feel most called to do in this world. And it was so absolutely incredible, beyond my wildest dreams. And I got to connect with everyone there. And all of these things, it was just incredible. And then, fast forward to the end of the event. It's the last minute, and, I'm connecting with people as they're leaving, and the stage is being torn down by a road crew that they've hired. All of that is done. And by the way, there are a bunch of things that were purchased for the event there was lots of leftovers things, some signage that we can use again. All of that stuff, guess what? Did I have to pack up any of that stuff in my car? No. They filled up the back of our Honda Pilot with everything that needed to go home with us. And they said, Cliff, here's your keys. Everything's packed up. And if you need anything else, just let us know. And then Stephanie and I went out to lunch with our family, with our kids, and had lunch together, just like unwinding and talking about how exciting and awesome it was. And they're still back there taking things apart, and we're on the road back home. Oh my gosh, that was so incredible. The first time ever that I've really understood the value of hiring other people to do what they do well instead of trying to do it all yourself. Could I have negotiated the contract? Could I have hired the catering? Could I have done the video production? Could I have been involved in every single aspect of it? Yes, I could have. Would it have been the same event? Absolutely not. And not to mention the fact that it certainly wouldn't have been break even. There was a lot of extra cost for having other people to do all of those things. But man, that's why my tickets aren't cheap. And you know what? My results that you will get at Free the Dream aren't cheap. They're big results. So that was incredible. So I understood from that experience, it's like, well, why don't I do the same with the marketing of my event, the marketing of the Next Level Mastermind. And so I hired my friend Rusty Ryle, professional copywriter. I met him a year and a half ago at Ray Edwards Copywriting Academy live event. I'll talk maybe in a future episode about how he approached me about me becoming one of his marketing clients. And just long story short, for now, I hired Rusty to help me with this marketing campaign. And so we've been working together. I adjusted my goal. My goal was, to have 24 people in the Next Level Mastermind by the end of October. And so now it's November. It's actually the last week in October when I'm starting to work with Rusty. And I said, hey, how about we just shift it to, we want to fill up the group by the end of November. He says, so that's six new members. Is that correct? He says, yeah. He says, I'm on it. And I'll talk to you in the future about Rusty, because this has been an incredible experience. But let's just say this. I have been working on this marketing campaign for the Next Level Mastermind with Rusty, and it has just been the most rewarding. It's been as awesome as working with Matt and Lauren. Now, this is still me communicating from my voice, so there's still a bit of tweaking, and there's a bit of Rusty and I getting acquainted with one another and communicating who I'm reaching, why I'm reaching them, what benefits. He's doing lots of interviews with current members. And, quite frankly, I'm creating a lot of content that I didn't even think to create before. And I'm creating a video, and he's taking that video, a 38-minute video that most people would ignore. But man, if they didn't ignore it, it would have a profound impact in their life. And he writes an email that would make anyone want to read this or to watch this 38-minute email or video. It's unbelievable. And by the way, it works. It's effective. Because they clicked, they watched the whole thing. Unbelievable. Anyway, so that's been a dream. And since we started working together, we're about 2.5 weeks into this campaign. And since we started working together, we've had, 8 people apply. 3 people I've added already. The other 5, it just wasn't the right thing for them. And I'm not afraid to let people know that, this isn't the right fit, or I'm not discouraged when they ask me questions and they determine for themselves it's not a good fit. That's not the point. But the reality is people are applying, and I've added 3 people already. So that means that 3 more people, we'd reach our goal by the end of November. And that is certainly going to happen. If our goal is to have 6 more people within 30 days, and Rusty basically starting right from scratch, and we're creating everything literally on the fly. Rusty is staying up late and writing copy after watching a video that I created that he told me that I should create. He says, what if you created a video with this topic? Do you think you could come up with a story and share it? I'm like, sure thing. And so I record it at 5 o'clock in the morning. The next morning, I send it to him. He watches the video, and then at night, he writes the copy that will compel people to watch that video. And then the next morning, I schedule it to go out so that it goes out by 8 a.m. It's crazy. It's been awesome. So there's no doubt in my mind. We haven't even turned on the quote-unquote call to action, the heavy call to action yet. We're not there in the campaign yet, but already people are applying, and we've added 3 new members. So we're halfway to our goal, and there's no doubt in my mind that we will, in the next week, have 3 more members. It's just knowing what I know about how this happens, that's awesome. But here's the situation. When things do not go according to your expectation, I will trade my expectation for appreciation. My friends, I had somebody a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago Friday. Anyway, on a Friday, just over almost 2 weeks ago. It was a week and a half ago on Friday. Email me and says, "Hey Cliff, I hate to do this. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I've been in the group for a year, and as you know, this has radically changed my life. And right now, I've got so many irons in the fire, and I'm going to step down from the Next Level Mastermind." And I'm like, this was like a gut punch to my stomach. I'm like, what? And I mean, the story of transformation in this person's life is like unbelievable. He goes, "Cliff, dude, you've changed my life. Seriously. You have no idea." But yet, he decides to drop out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you can't drop out. Because I know what comes next. And I know what comes next. And But also, there's like, oh my gosh, the biggest thing for me is that my expectation is that the Next Level Mastermind wasn't meant to be this 1-year group coaching program. And unfortunately, unintentionally, what I realize is that in the mind of many people who signed up for the Next Level Mastermind, they signed up with the thought of, you know what? Yes, I will invest in this 1-year program known as the Next Level Mastermind. Now, they would never have consciously thought those words. I've never consciously or directly communicated those words, but unconsciously I communicated that as maybe a part of what it all is. And I'm crossing the highway again. Looks like I'm all set here. Oh, nope. Car coming both ways, actually. I'm going to make it, though. Okay. So, anyway, the thing is what happened was this first person, a week and a half ago on Friday, he had been in the group for a year, and he made the decision. When people signed up, one of the things people would ask me occasionally is, "Cliff, if I decide to join, how long is the commitment?" And I'm like, well, my hope is that I create an environment where you'd never want to leave, that you're getting so much value that the thought of leaving, I mean, just like, I know I know the investment's $1,000 a month, but what you're getting in return for what your participation, that you will have had such a return on investment that you would never dream of leaving. So that's what I'm hoping to build. Although, quite frankly, I don't think I ever used that language. It's language that I would use today, but I don't think I ever used that language. And so I did say to people, everybody over the past year who joined, my hope is that you would commit to at least a minimum of 1 year. I'm not holding anybody to a written contract, and if you get in and you're in for 3 months and you're not getting a return on your investment, it's not working out for you, it's not what you... I don't want your money if you're not pleased to give it to me as a certificate of appreciation for all the value it's adding to your life. And so if you come to me and say, Cliff, I need to drop out, I'm totally fine with that. And I have had some people do that, and it's more on their circumstances of life than mine. And it's never been an issue when people dropped out from time to time. I would always have somebody new that would come in. Well, this was different. This was somebody who, in their mind, signed up for, in their head, a 1 year commitment. And they'll say, maybe I'll think about it then if I want to continue for another year. But I did ask people, I said, listen, if you're thinking about just kicking the tires, I'd really ask you not to accept my invitation to join. But if you're committed for at least a year and you believe in that commitment, then yes, you're a good fit, and I would love to have you. Well, what happened was, in the mindset of, at least 3 individuals, I basically created a 1 year mastermind experience for them. And the thing is what happened was, I had 3 people, actually, you know what, it was a week and a half, yeah. So 3 people within 12 days. So that was the first one. Then I had 2 more people drop because their 1 year was approaching as well. And it just so happens that it's 3 people who, if $12,000 investment, right? But the return on their investment is they're making, in some cases, $12,000 a month more than they were previously. So they're making more in 1 month than what the membership fee cost for a year. Total no-brainer return on investment, right? And the other circumstances of other people, what they've been able to achieve. There's somebody who had absolutely no online presence, no podcast, no experience in marketing a personal brand. They just had some great success in a certain area, a certain niche, and they had a desire to teach others and coach. And within 8 months, they achieved more success in 8 months than it took me 8 years to achieve. And most of that had to do with me sharing in his hot seats all of the things that I've learned along the way and what other people in the hot seat had shared, other people in the group shared. And this person was a very teachable person, very open. All of these 3 individuals that I'm talking about were very teachable, and they all took immediate action on all the advice they were given. They all had the resources to immediately implement all the things. And, that's not to say that some of them didn't come along the way and have some setbacks and some struggles in their mindset. But we jumped on the call and we alleviated that immediately. And I've been investing in the lives of these individuals, doing everything within my power to see them succeed. And in my mind, my expectation is that if there's anybody who's still going to be around 5 years from now in the next level of mastermind, these 3 individuals are certainly going to be among that group. In my mind, that was my expectation. But within 12 days, 3 people who have been a part of the next level mastermind for a year decided to leave the group. And oh my gosh, whoa, that was significant, like an experience in my life. I'm like, whoa. And at Free the Dream, I teach I teach all about mindset. That's who I am. I'm the mindset answer man. And so I teach about the 3 questions we're always asking ourselves about everything. Every day of our life, all day, we're asking ourselves, you've got 3 decisions you're making. Number 1, you're deciding right now, what are you focused on? Right now, you're focused on Cliff Ravenscraft talking and sharing this story. That's what you're focused on. I can tell you that right now. The second decision you're making is based upon what I'm focused on. In this instance, what Cliff is saying. What does this mean? What does this mean? You may be deciding, well, Cliff, that it means you're an obvious failure. Or you may be thinking, well, Cliff, maybe you should give up this and do something different. Or maybe you're thinking, wow, I've so experienced that, and maybe I'm going to learn some kind of major breakthrough here. You're deciding right now, what does this mean for you as I'm telling you this story? Or what does this mean overall? And then, based upon you're focusing on what I'm talking about, based upon your decision, and you are deciding for yourself what it means. And by the way, you can choose various different meanings, and whatever you decide will be true to you. All right. And based upon what you decide this means, then you will just make the third decision. What action are you going to take as a result? I'm going to turn Cliff off. I'm not going to listen to him anymore. I'm going to go sign up for his mastermind group, because, man, if Cliff Ravenscraft is that devoted and that's the way, I want to be a part of that mastermind. Or, man, the action you might take. I was really thinking about Cliff's mastermind, but if people are abandoning ship, then, yeah, forget that idea. So this is what I know. And I was focused on this. It's like, what am I focused on? I'm focused on the fact that 3 people just left. This, my friends, did not meet my expectation of what I thought success looked like. Another thing that I learned from Tony Robbins is this thing called the formula for happiness. That's where LC equals BP. That means life conditions equal your blueprint. Or your blueprint, another way of saying blueprint, is the way you believe things ought to be, or the way you believe things should be, or the way things are supposed to go, the rules of the game. You know, that's what a blueprint is. So my life condition is, if I have people who are experiencing great success in the next level mastermind, meaning that they're paying $12,000 a year, but, you know, quite frankly, they're making at least double, triple, or 10x or more than that investment back as a result of their participation. If that is happening, if that's the life condition, then the rule of the game, in my mind, the expectation on the other end for me to be happy, is that these people are going to continue to want to be in a relationship with me and this other group of people in this mastermind experience for years and years to come, so that exponentially they're going to, I mean, you think the first year was awesome? Wait until you see what happens after this. That's my expectation. But when your circumstances or your life condition does not equal that expectation, oh, by the way, when life conditions do equal your belief about how things should be, you are, quote unquote, happy. And when things do not go according to that, when they do not equal, then you are unhappy. And so I was very unhappy when these folks left. And I was, it's like, what am I focused on? Well, obviously, you know what I was focused on. What do I mean? What does this mean? And for me, it's like, oh my gosh, what does this mean financially? It's like, what does this mean for my income goals? What does this mean for the future of the Next Level Mastermind? What does this mean when I go to tell the group that somebody's left? Is this going to get other people? Is this going to cause a chain reaction? Is everybody going to leave? Am I going to end up having to start over from scratch? What does this mean? And all of a sudden, I get tempted to go to, and I think you might agree that this is some kind of universal principle that we all, or thing that we got going on. We tend to start focusing on worst case scenarios. And so there's another affirmation that I have, and that is, I refuse to allow myself to see anything as being worse than it truly is. And, well, I got to admit to you, for at least 2 days, I was allowing myself to see this as way worse than it was. And, I'm thankful, by the way, I'm thankful to my best friend on this planet, that's not my wife, Ray Edwards, who's a member of my Green Room Mastermind. I said, Ray, I'd love to know if you're available for a talk sometime. Here's what's happened. And quite frankly, it just makes me want to cry. He's like, dude, let's jump on a call. And so we talked, and just talking with him, all of a sudden I started to, it was just amazing. So the reality is I was determining, what does this mean and what actions am I going to take? Well, if you determine that this means that, people shouldn't leave and your expectations were right and the way that you say that it's how things should be, well then what actions would I take? I might actually try to beg them to stay. I might try to convince them to not leave or blah, 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 blah. So I knew that I needed to be careful immediately about how I would respond to them. So my responses were like, hey, I understand, I'm kind of bummed, but, hey, I've taken care of canceling your subscription payment, and, it was just very brief. Not necessarily, I felt, and of course I feel bad about the fact that it's definitely not the personal style of communication I have with these people that I'm so close to, that I've invested so much. And so that even got me feeling bad. Oh my goodness, what time is it? Let me see if I can find out what time it is. 9:04. Okay, so we're still good. Mastermind group starts at 9:30, and I need to start wrapping this up. They're building a house here at the end of the street. That's what all this sound is here. But anyway, where was I at? So what does this mean? It's like, okay, I need to get a better grasp of what this means. What can I learn from this? And it took me a little bit. It should, by the way, quite frankly, I know how to get to this place sooner rather than later. Man, there's so much going on the street, and that's crazy. Cars everywhere and trucks everywhere. Okay. I should be able to get to this place sooner than 2 days, but quite frankly, I'm just being honest with you. It took me 2 days to assign the right meanings to this, and to also shift my expectation to appreciation. See, the thing is my expectation is that this is this is what this is, and of course I can still have that, but the thing is what does this mean if somebody leaves? That just means that, well, what I desire to create, number one, I did not effectively communicate to them what it is that I was creating. In some way, I unconsciously communicated this as a 1-year group mastermind experience. And those are pretty common. And if I don't communicate otherwise, then, and by the way, and at the same time now, I'm like, wait a second. These people haven't betrayed me, which never was a thought. These people are not letting me down. It's just these people are not living up to the expectation that I thought that I was, that I didn't communicate to them what I was trying to. And anyway, what I realized is like, wait a second. These people are walking billboards of case studies of massive success. I mean, every single one, these 3 individuals who are a part of the Next Level Mastermind, that still today, all 3 of them will tell you that their experience, their 1-year experience in the Next Level Mastermind, has radically transformed every area of their life. Their life is better for it, and they will tell you it was life-changing and it was the best decision they've ever made. In fact, I have multiple testimonials from all 3 of them who have said this many times, and even when they left, they said, this is still the case, but here's why I've decided to leave. And I have a different perspective on what would have come next than what they had in their mind, but I've never communicated that in the past. So how can I be upset? But the thing is like, wait a second, what does this mean? Dude, walking billboards, people who are out there succeeding, who are achieving things in life that they would have never dreamed possible had they not been a part of this, that is huge success. And you know what? I did go to the Next Level Mastermind, and I let the group know, hey, so-and-so left. And then I had to go back again, and hey, so-and-so left. And part of me was like, does this mean the chain reaction? And they're like, hey, Cliff, it's not a big deal. You should see this as a success. And hey, I'm not leaving. I'm here. And I'm like, dude, okay, this is helpful. And so I'm trading my expectation of, that I thought that I was going to have the opportunity and privilege of doing life for so many years into the future with these people through this Next Level Mastermind. And yeah, I knew that they would get the experience. I knew that they would get the results that they had in the first year. There was no doubt in my mind that they would get that. And in my mind, there's no doubt in my mind, had they not left, that, dude, that was only the beginning of what would happen if they would stay in for another year or 2 years or 3 years. I'm in the next level. I'm in the Green Room Mastermind. I've been in it for almost 10 years now. It has been incredibly rewarding. And there are times when I'm like, man, these guys, they would be my friends. I would be able to benefit from the relationship I have with them for the rest of my life, even if we didn't meet together each and every week. And sometimes I've been tempted to say, hey, I wonder what it would be like if we just kind of just shut this thing down and we allowed ourselves to flourish in some other different directions and say, man, it's been a great decade. Let's go on and do something else. I'm not going to lie and tell you I've never thought about that. But that thought has never lasted because I'm like, there's no way I would give this up. And I don't think there's another person. And trust me, we've had some personal conflict in our group before, and one where it's not all sunshines and rainbows when you're dealing with another human being who's imperfect and you're imperfect and stuff like that. So, but the fact that we're still together says to me is like, dude, what we've got going on here is so much bigger than ourselves. And I guess in my mind, my expectation, my rule of the game, my belief about how things should be is that I was creating this experience for other people. And you know what? I still am absolutely convinced that that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm building. And I'm going to do my best to continue to communicate that. And I believe that God will bring the right people into the Next Level Mastermind who will still desperately want to be in this group for 10, 20, 30 years into the future. And I've shifted my expectation to say, hey, you know what? For me to be able to be happy, I realize there's going to be some people who are going to come and participate, be in this thing for a year, and then they're going to go out and they're going to believe that the best decision for them, and it may be the best decision for them, to go out and spread their new wings and fly out on their own and impact the world in a different way than through the ongoing participation of what we've built here. So, anyway, I share all of that to say that I have shifted my expectation of what I felt these guys who left. By the way, there were women in the Next Level Mastermind too. Just felt like I needed to throw that in there. But I shifted my expectation of what I felt like these guys should be doing. Which, who am I to control anyone? I'm not. It's silly. And, all three of them, they were in for a year and they took action in their lives and the fact that I can tell the stories and they're happy to share them and jump on a phone call with anybody who's thinking. It's like, this is incredible. I should be so thankful. So I've traded my expectation for being thankful and appreciating. And I just had a call with one of them this morning on FaceTime and said, hey, let me explain to you why I'm so thankful for you. And this is what was going through my head. And here's how I'm thinking about it now. And just want to say that, thank you for taking action. Thank you for succeeding. And I want you to know that you're always welcome back into the group. And all three of them says, hey, I may come back. And they weren't just saying that. Trust me, we have a relationship where we don't soften a blow by we're open with one another in the mastermind. So, but the thing is that I've traded my expectation for appreciation. I went through my process that I teach at Free the Dream, and you'll have the opportunity to learn about in a Free the Dream online course version of the Free the Dream material coming soon to a from a Cliff Ravenscraft here near you. Anyway, guys, I'm so excited. I'm not excited about the fact that I added 3 new members and I dropped 3 new members, and that's not exciting. I'm not excited about the fact that these people won't be a part of every week of my life. I get to do life with them. I'm gonna miss that. But you know what? I have grown to get really excited about whoever it is God has next to pop into the Next Level Mastermind. And I realize that some of you listening to my voice today, as a result of this, you're going to say, hey, I'm focused on this. What does this mean? It means there's an open spot, and Cliff Ravenscraft has this much care for what he's doing, and he's getting this kind of results in people's lives. And you know what? There are some of you who are going to decide what this means for you, and some of you the action that you'll take based upon what you're focusing on and what your meaning is. Some of you are going to apply and get approved to the Next Level Mastermind, and you're going to be in this thing for a year, and it's going to radically change your life. And I'm excited about some of you. There are some of you who are listening to my voice. You're going to apply, and you're going to experience so much life transformation over the next year that you're going to be overwhelmed by all of the success, abundance, and love that's come into your life as a result of your first year. And when it comes time at the end of the year, you're not even going to think about leaving. You're going to be a part of this group for 10, 20 years. And you know what? I've adjusted my expectations to say this. Yes, I'm building a group that does not end. It's not a one-year program. But at the same time, I'm adjusting my expectation that I understand there's going to be some people who are going to come in for a year, they're going to benefit, and they're going to go out and do something different. And I'm going to be fine with that. And I'm going to have a marketing campaign, thanks to Rusty, that's going to be evergreen, that not only has already successfully brought new people into the group, but will continue to bring people into the group. Every single week, new people will be entering into that email marketing campaign sequence every week for the next several years. So much so that I know that eventually I will have a waiting list. And anytime anyone decides to leave the group, which I hope is few and far between. Honestly, I hope that I get to a place where each of the two groups that I currently host, where all 12 people are like, I'd never leave this. And that, I believe, will happen. But it's obviously, I don't think that it's right for me to expect any further that's going to immediately happen my first year. So I've adjusted my expectations. And I certainly have traded my previous expectations for appreciation. And this is not a marketing piece of material. This is not a marketing piece of content. But if you are interested, nextlevelmastermind.info. Just so happens there's a few spots available. All right, with that, I need to run in here, get dressed or showered and dressed for this Next Level Mastermind that's going to start in just a few minutes. Until next time, my friends, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.